What's up, your boy Phone? Another reaction. Today's video we have JR and Heyman hated each other, but it was commercial commentary gold. I'm saying commercial commentary gold by Wrestling Flashback.
1, 2, is this on?
Despite their short run as a duo, Paul Heyman and Jim Ross were one of the most memorable commentary pairings.
Stand up! That's alright, that's alright. Sit down, sit down! Sit down! That's your age, will you? Don't be an idiot.
Paul brought out the best in JR, while Heyman re-established himself as a tremendous heel.
You love Stone Cold, or if you hate Stone Cold. Don't care about shut up about it, and call a match, and do your job.
Together, they bickered and argued while providing great calls with their fantastic announcing.
Steve Austin is alive today because of his great self-defense. That's a bunch. You want to have more respect for Stone Cold Steve Austin? Why not? Less for you, and I'll tell you this: on the unforgiven, Austin's gonna get his ass.
I love that nigga JR voice, my nigga.
They showcased immense passion, which helped fans suspend their disbelief and get emotionally invested in the stories being told.
By God, I know one thing: Stone Cold knows he can't beat Kurt Angle for the WWF.
We'll highlight some of their best work. By listing 10 matches, JR and Paul Heyman made iconic with their commentary.
You're out of work again! You didn't win, Paul! Your man lost! Kurt Angle just screwed you guys!
We all know how historic the legendary TLC match at WrestleMania 17 was, but amidst all the chaos, fans might forget JR and Heyman's performance behind the desk. Jim's commentary in particular went from joking to concerned the longer the match went on.
This will adversely affect your sexual drive.
Ross couldn't believe it when Edge speared Jeff Hardy from the ladder. The Oklahoman had a famous call to go with such an insane spot.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy as fuck.
Heyman was overjoyed to see his ECW friend Rhino do a run-in.
On top of that big ladder, it's
JR, however, was increasingly worried at each wrestler's condition following another dangerous stunt.
I gotta say a prayer for these 6 men.
In the end, it was Edge and Christian's night, as JR put into perspective how much sheer carnage we'd just witnessed.
Like a tornado ran through a mobile home park. Look at the damage, look at the destruction.
Ross and Heyman's commentary was one of the highlights of the Invasion storyline. Paul was the voice of the Alliance faction, while JR was WWF through and through. It made for a perfect dynamic since both men wanted the other out of a job.
I have been sitting like a damn corporate sellout next to that damn pig.
The story culminated at the two...
Dang. Hey man, you built like a pig too, with that fat ass neck and that fat ass chin you got.
2001 Survivor Series, the Alliance battled a team of WWF wrestlers, where the winning promotion would gain full control of the company. JR and Heyman were on fire, going back and forth throughout the night.
Bye-bye, audience. Good old JR signing off after all this happened. You know, you're sick. I'm not gonna miss you at all. Who gives a damn? It's been miserable working with you. Same here.
The two continued to go at each other as the winner-take-all main event was set to begin.
You can't decide if you love Stone Cold or if you hate Stone Cold. Don't care about shut up about it and call a match and do your job. Jim Cornette can replace you tomorrow night, pal.
The match featured a nice mix of expert analysis and fun quips from the announcers.
The Spinneroonie, the most electrifying move in wrestling today. That is hideous. 3 members of Team Alliance. Listen to you, you're losing your voice out of nervousness. You know you're finished.
JR played the straight man for most of the bout, focusing on the action, but eventually he grew tired of Paul's annoyance and fired back accordingly.
I'll tell you one way or the other, if I get my ass fired, I wouldn't listen to your crap anymore and hear your voice anymore. Well, you'll have to hear it every Monday on television. I'll turn the sound down and watch the close
They should have had these niggas wrestle. Niggas hate each other.
Have Ugo Sabatoni in Spanish, which is a foreign language like whatever you talk from Oklahoma. Right.
And obviously Heyman was happy to play ball and keep poking the man under the black hat.
Never doubted Stone Cold's ability. Not one time, not for 1 minute. Too late to suck up.
That nigga loves Stone Cold.
I'm sucking up. But you can give me. Why don't you kiss my ass and just call the man? Why do you keep wanting me to kiss your ass? What is with you Oklahoma people? You're gonna step with Oklahoma one time too many. One time too many.
Though the arguing was all in the context of the story, as both teams fought to keep their promotions and jobs afloat. In the end, Team WWF scored the victory. Sure, the invasion storyline wasn't good, but the ending was satisfactory in no small part, thanks to JR and Heyman on the call.
You're out of work again! You didn't win, Paul! Your man lost! Kurt Angle just screwed you guys!
Kurt Angle vs Stone Cold was one of the big feuds of the invasion. Their first pay-per-view singles match took place at that year's SummerSlam. Austin defended the WWF title against Kurt, who was still in the WWF camp at the time. In the early going, the commentators created a big fight feel type atmosphere.
The fight is on, and like Bradley Cooper would say, let the bodies hit the floor! And you've got to believe, down deep in your soul, that this one is
Stone Cold was just that nigga doing this ever.
going to be as physically intense as perhaps anything that we will ever see.
They put over how heinous of a heel Austin had become.
Has there ever been a champion as vicious as Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Sure, he had time for comedy, but deep down, the rattlesnake had unleashed a deep side to him we hadn't seen in some time.
The psychotic son of a bitch!
Angle fired back by going for the ankle, which the announcers sold to great effect.
Angle's got the ring! Angle's got the ankle! Bloody Kurt! The challenger! It's going to break off his ankle!
The finish ended in a screwy DQ.
A blatant shafting! I disagree with you, sir! Fitzpatrick making the right call!
Which led to Kurt destroying the Alliance referee Nick Patrick, much to JR's delight. After breaking down a superb contest, you just knew JR and Paul had to bicker at some point.
By God, I know one thing. Stone Cold knows he can't beat Kurt Angle for the WWF title. Can you argue that point?
Angle's match from the September 10, 2001 Raw against Rob Van Dam was a hard-hitting affair for the Hardcore Championship that is best remembered for its aftermath, as Stone Cold threw both competitors off the stage. Then while Kurt was being stretchered off by paramedics, Heyman and JR had one of their most famous arguments. The two men spat bullets at one another, while at the same time handing over Angle and Austin's feud in preparation for their WWF title clash at the upcoming Unforgiven pay-per-view.
Austin is a sick, no-good, son of a dirty...
You know, if you want a job in the Alliance, I can put in a good word for you with Steph and Shane. His pink hair and all.
I'll get out of the business and go back to Oklahoma and go to a football game. The bottom line here is Austin is paranoid. He is sick. He didn't give Angle any warning. He threw him off.
God damn, that's when niggas start wrestling was real, pointing middle fingers at that nigga.
That stage. He's a sick human being, and he's running scared.
Heyman and JR also did some great work before the invasion began, as they were firing on all cylinders right from the start.
Steve Austin is alive today because of his great self-defense.
That's a bunch
you
of
want to have
crap, and you know
more
it.
respect for Stone Cold Steve
respect for Austin.
Why
Even
not?
less for you. And I'll tell you this: on the Unforgiven, Austin's going to get his ass whipped. He's going to get his ass whipped in Pittsburgh.
By who?
And he knows
By Kurt Angle?
Kurt Angle.
By Kurt Angle?
Get up there.
Get out of your mind.
Kiss my ass.
Stone Cold and Triple H's tag title defense against Jericho and Benoit from May 21st, 2001 is among the greatest Raw matches of all time. It's famous for the game's quad tear, but the bout was a fast-paced, balls-to-the-wall epic where the crowd bet on numerous false finishes. As did JR and Heyman, who did a fantastic job putting over the action.
This can't be.
Count it, damn it.
No, come on. It can't be this way.
Triple H tearing his quad didn't take away from such a thrilling encounter, since Hunter went through with the planned finish despite the pain.
Jericho's got the walls of Jericho on the game.
Then there were more dramatic near falls.
I ain't gonna lie, gang, this video all over the place, but I'm keeping up though.
We were witnessing a 5-star classic before our very eyes. The finale was spectacular, as Jericho and Benoit got the win, while the commentators and fans continued to go nuts. Stone Cold joined the announce desk for Benoit's steel cage match with Kurt Angle on the June 11, 2001 episode of Raw.
You look at me like that, you little bastard. What's wrong with you?
Austin and JR had an entertaining dynamic, since Steve had recently beaten up his former best friend Jim after turning heel. Meanwhile, Heyman provided brilliant facial expressions in the background, while the rattlesnake scolded the Oklahoman.
Look at me, hillbilly boy. It don't matter what I like, does it? You're damn damn right he don't. I don't give a damn what you like. There you go. Don't even look at me.
This match is most remembered for Angle and Benoit both climbing the cage and then jumping off. Paul could be heard shrieking no multiple times, while Ross yelled at Benoit, don't do it. One of Jim's trademark phrases.
Come on, Chris. Don't do it. Don't do it.
JR's reaction when Kurt hit the moonsault was even better. Jim's call added to such an incredibly spectacular moment.
You kidding me?
Angle left the cage victorious after Stone Cold screwed over Chris, who was the Rattlesnakes' rival at the time. Kurt Angle's battle with Shane McMahon from the 2001 King of the Ring was like a throwback to Heyman's ECW given the brutality, and you could tell how much Paul enjoyed the street fight as he was on form all throughout.
This nigga Paul Heyman been fat his whole life, like been a big chud his whole life.
If I was Shane, I begged for forgiveness.
He noted the mismatch between the opponents, but also stressed how the no-rules stipulation at least gave Shane more of a chance than he would have had otherwise. Not to mention, Kurt had already wrestled twice that night in the King of the Ring tournament matches.
An Olympic head right in the trash can.
McMahon's toughness was going to be what got him through it, though Angle was still guaranteed to have his way with Shane O'Mac.
You think Shane McMahon's body is having to recover from a beating like Kurt Angle is giving him? And you think Shane's gonna fall for this again? What's wrong with him?
Shane McMahon gonna try to go. He's doing it.
And as Kurt brutalized Shane more and more, JR and Heyman had a verbal exchange. Jim wanted the match to be stopped, but Paul disagreed.
I mean, these are set designs. You know how much money this stuff is worth? No. Think that glass is?
Well, I'm not worried about the money or the budgets. I'm worried about two human beings, especially Shane McMahon.
I'm not talking about the money or the budgets. I'm talking about the thickness of the glass. I'm talking about this is big-time set design. Oh, my God!
So did Shane, who miraculously still had more fight left in him.
Angle's got the leg. My God, please.
Angle
Shane ass is crazy as fuck, man.
came away with his hand raised following a vicious encounter.
Oh no, it's the Angle Slam. His bloody body on top of Shane.
2, 3.
It's over. Mercifully, my God, it's finally over.
WrestleMania 17 is considered the greatest WWE pay-per-view ever, topped off by the second match in The Rock and Stone Cold's Mania saga.
Yeah, this was like Michael Jordan and LeBron.
Disqualification! What was that at it?
JR and Heyman both put over the importance and stakes on the line, as well as the fierce battle that was taking place.
Unreal now, Austin bloody, The Rock bloody, the battle is for the title, and all is on the line.
God, this is intense. This is WrestleMania.
Initially, it was Austin that had no quit in him.
Buried and battered challenger does, but God will not quit.
Even a callback to his past classic with Brett wasn't going to
I gotta rewatch that shit, I ain't gonna lie.
keep Steve down this time around.
Change of Bret Hart and Austin at WrestleMania past.
But after McMahon began to help Stone Cold, no one could believe it, especially JR, who was so close with Austin.
Austin got the stunner. Austin got the leg hook. On the rock.
Now it was The Rock fighting to survive and somehow staying in it.
That's it.
In the end, it was one chair shot too many, as Steve defeated Rock to win the WWF title, while JR reacted in disgust.
What the hell is this?
It's a new champion.
Freddie! I thought I knew Steve Austin. I was there in the hospital when he came out of surgery. I thought I knew him.
Austin's heel turn was cemented with the handshake that led to Jim's legendary call. What a shocking way to end not just a one-of-one WrestleMania, but also the Attitude Era as a whole.
Shaking hands.
Stone Cold is shaking hands with Satan himself.
The Rock and Stone Cold ran it back the next
That nigga said Satan himself. Well, yeah, that's what he is. Yeah, he is.
night on Raw in a match that is famous for its closing angle. During the bout, however, the Great One was like a man possessed, on a mission to punish Austin after the events of Mania.
King Kong was one of Satan's greatest soldiers.
Looking at the title belt, it was once his, and he just hit Austin right in the head with it.
The People's Champ went after the Rattlesnake with weapon shots, and even forced a rare tap out from the Redneck. although McMahon had the referee distracted. The commentators were just as emotionally charged as the action was, with JR constantly up in arms over McMahon's interference. Though it wasn't Vincent's involvement that would surprise fans on this night. As if Steve aligning with the boss at WrestleMania wasn't shocking enough, Austin proceeded to join forces with his arch nemesis Triple H.
They're gonna go! They're gonna explode! Oh no!
The new villainous trio beat the hell out of the Brahma Bull and sent him packing for Hollywood.
This match is disintegrated all the way to the depths of hell! Thanks to Mr. McMahon, Austin, and the gang!
For JR, his former best friend had linked up with the evil chairman, as well as the wrestler Jim despised the most in the game. Plus Ross had to communicate with Heyman, who he also hated. Jim's closing line put it all into perspective, as Stone Cold, Triple H and Vince were now all on the same page. The Attitude Era was done, and may God have mercy on the WWF's souls.
Vile, ugly, nasty pains! And what can we do about it?
With Austin turning and The Rock gone to make a movie, the babyface side was now much lighter. The likes of Angle, Benoit and Jericho were kept in the mid-card for another few months. This meant we had to contend with Undertaker and Kane as top babyfaces. Sure, neither men were doing their best work during this period, but JR and Heyman certainly were. So much so that their commentary could liven up an otherwise dull storyline between the two-man power trip and the Brothers of Destruction.
The Spanish guys are over there. That's my monitor.
You can't beat him out here!
At Judgment Day 2001, Stone Cold wrestled Taker. Vince was guest commentator for this main event, and Paul made sure to suck up to the boss at the expense of JR.
Stand up.
That's all right, that's all right.
Sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
At your age, will you don't be an idiot?
How are you, sir? Hide behind JR.
Mr. McMahon,
Hide behind JR, Vince.
running out the proverbial scope of dog!
JR and Heyman's continuous arguments over Austin turning were pure gold.
What changed this man?
Nothing changed it. He's a rattlesnake.
I don't agree with that.
He warned you for 4 years. Don't trust anybody. DTA. That included himself.
Ross was disgusted by his former best friend's recent actions, though Paul argued he's been the same rattlesnake all along.
You used to love it when Austin showed nobody respect. You used to love when Austin would rebel against authority. Now you hate it. Who's changed?
He's changed.
He's the same man.
Well, you didn't know him, Paul. That's your opinion.
I have known him for years. I've managed both of these men early in their careers.
Deal too.
Lunacy. Chaos.
Sick and perverted.
Retribution.
The finish of the match fell pretty flat, since the fans' attention was directed at Kane running in during the final cover. The crowd was hot all throughout though, and enhanced the action, as did JR and Heyman, who did a top job painting the picture for us and putting over heel Austin.
Austin's the luckiest son of a bitch in the country.
Now if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our similar video of 10 WWE stars who had real life heat with Stephanie McMahon. Hope you have a great
Make sure to comment, subscribe, and all do this. I was just locked in watching the shit. I ain't gonna lie. Hopefully y'all was locked in. Like I said a couple things, but I was just locked in against it.